I'm leaving myself coming back at the moment. So the way it's going to go tonight is, very briefly, I will tell you about myself, very briefly, and then a little bit about Reform and how the campaign is going, maybe a policy or two. But really, it's your evening to ask me questions that are relevant to you, and I will do my best, I promise, to answer them. So sometimes we get very niche questions, but we can try and get them to answer them. And yes, thanks for all your support, okay. Say that as well. So let me tell you a bit about myself first. I was born in Redruth. I'm Roger Tarrant. I was raised in Cornwall, raised my own family here. So I've seen a lot of change in Cornwall. I'm a small business owner. I used to be the South West Regional Chairman of the Federation of Small Businesses, which went from Gloucestershire all the way down to the Isles of Scilly. So I'm sort of, business is my hot topic, if you like. We've got some great policies on those. We've got some business people here. I've just been for a meeting with a load of business people, and we've just been talking about that, so apologies for a bit late. That's enough about me, I think. If you want to ask me any more, you can. Reform, let's talk first about how the campaign is going. We launched the campaign, I was appointed just before Christmas. Can you all hear me okay?
Yeah.
I don't like using the microphone. We launched, I was appointed just before Christmas. We launched it here in this room in January, where a load of supporters then came on board and helped me, and they've been fantastic leafleting. We put 40,000 leaflets out from the first leaflet. We then have had the generic one from the head office going to every single house through the post. And we're in the process of doing a third leaflet now. We've had stalls in all the towns, twice in Camborne, twice in Redruth, Tarrant because it's new to the constituency, and Hayle as well. And we've been right through the constituency. And in case you're not aware, it goes from Tarrant all the way that way, isn't it, down to Hayle. And from obviously Camborne, Redruth, and then goes through Stithy and St Day, and I've missed out a load, but forgive me if you live there, and right to the end in Morland Smith and Constituent, right to the Alfred Passage. It's quite big. It's in, I've said this before, it's in the shape of a giant T, and my surname begins with a T, so I think that's a good talent. I think that's, yeah. So the campaign's been going really, really well. Now, I always stood because I thought we had a chance. I wouldn't have stood as a candidate. I didn't think we at least had a chance. But now, since Nigel Farage stood up, it's gone completely crazy. And I've spoken to, knocked doors, spoken to guys and said, I'm part of the union, all my friends are, we're supposed to be voting Labour, but we're not, we're voting for you. And they've said on the other side, I've gone to Diana Wall Conservatives, said, we've had enough, we're going to vote for you. And I've also got no pushback from youngsters. And I spoke to a taxi driver at Tolvaden who actually has a contract with the college. And he said, all of the young people are supporting you, which is amazing, isn't it? Because they've had enough of the millennials telling you what to think. So, it's going to pot. All of the other parties just about agree on the direction of travel and on the narrative. And if you push back like Reform UK are, we're being vilified, and we're just nice people. A lot of us are small business people. That's what I am, And I've seen my county change. And by the way, if you're an incomer, I'm not against them. My wife's from Yorkshire. I'm not against incomers. But, I am a proud Cornishman, and I've just seen the county change and the country change, and I think a lot of you have as well. So, policies, instead of me telling you a few policies, maybe we'll bring up something that interests you. So if I don't get any questions, I will then start with some policies. And if anybody's got a burning desire to ask me a question, I think that's what I like to do at these events, for you to have a voice, for you to ask me anything that you really want to hear. Particularly about Reform, you might be unaware of what our policy is on something, or you might be undecided and thought, I'm going to come around and see if actually they're as good as they sound they are. We are. All right. So, does anybody want to ask a question? If not, I'll talk about some more policy. Yes, sir.
You got a bike?
Yeah.
Biker?
Yes.
I saw for Art the other day, and he was talking to 1,000 bikers.
Yeah.
Because Labour wants to turn us all into electric.
Yeah.
Yeah. They want every single one of us who's got a gas burner in your house for doing your hot water and everything, all going to be took out. We're all going to be driving electric cars in 2040, which is only what?
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
How's it going to work? How's it going to stop with the petrol aids?
It's not. It's impossible. It cannot happen. For a start, there's more environmental damage from electric batteries. You know, just so poor African kids there mining it. They're shortening their lives. Recycling it. I think, remember, out of this constituency, I remember someone telling me from the Eden Project, they've got cars there, and to make it worthwhile, the batteries are going to last 30 years and it lasts 10. Yeah. To make it cost effective. So it's not cost effective.
And their value is cutting out on their cars as well.
Yes, and there's not enough charging points because those will be owned by the corporations and we all rent them off. That's the direction of travel. All it needs is for the people, for us, to come together and say, we don't want any more of this. And the only way you're going to do that at the moment is vote Reform UK, because we are the only alternative saying, we've got to stop this line of travel. Because whatever we do, you can believe in climate change. I believe in climate change, by the way. We've always had it. That's why we've got ice ages. Climate emergency, a little bit different. And I've listened to the scientists for that. So I've always classed myself as an environmentalist. I was a member of Greenpeace once, when the great Patrick Moore, one of the founders, he was the head, he thinks this stuff's nonsense. He founded Greenpeace. Yeah. PhD. And Obama's chief scientific advisor on the environment, his name's on the tip of my tongue, but you can look him up. He was when Obama said, can go in, head this, finance. Yeah, I'm an environmentalist, I'll go in and sort it out. He went in, so when he came out, he went, it's all rubbish. There's no scientific proof for it. And do you know what they do? This is a telltale sign, it's called critical thinking. If they attack the person and not the argument, which is what they did, and you'll find the scientists that disagree with this, they attack them, where's the argument against that? I'm all for argument, and I'm open-minded, by the way. If somebody wants to come to me with an argument, like Perrin Moon does, he believes in this stuff, Labour. If he would like to come with me, we had a disagreement the other day. We get on very well together, by the way. They're very civil to me, the other opponents, I'm very civil to them. But we do disagree on that because he believes wholeheartedly in net zero, which is going to...
Well, he would do.
It will make us, net zero will actually take us into a third world country. We will be very, very poor. And by the way, if people are kind of going all over the place here, forgive me, but if people feeling poor, it's because you are, because GDP, that's gross domestic product, per person, per capita, is going down. I thought that was a round of applause for a minute. It's going down. Can you hear me over that? Yes, no, I'll carry on. It's always embarrassing when you find yourself. GDP per person is going down. Now it's going up for the country because for the corporations and for the government, because all these people coming in. But per person it's going down. So if you feel poor, it's because you are. It's called GDP per capita. And really, a government is supposed to be here to look after their population. If I get voted in as an MP, I'm here to look after the constituency, this constituency, Camborne, Redruth, Hayle, and everybody else in it, Tarrant, to everywhere, still the ends. Same day person, I'm mentioning that. I'm here to look after those people. And I've just been at a business meeting and he said, how do we trust you? I said, what do I say? All I'm going to say is, I feel I'm an honourable person, and that my wife said, what are you going to do if you get in? And I said, I haven't thought that far ahead. There's an honest answer for you. And I've said there's two things though. One is I can't let the people down this constituency because they put faith in me. And two, I can't be captured by the people up there. Too many people go up there and get captured by Houses of Parliament, right? They start off with good intentions. I'm hopefully old enough and wise enough not.
And we'll keep you real.
Yeah. Otherwise, to me, it's not worth doing it. I don't. What's the point of doing it if that's not the case? So the reason I stood really is because I noticed that some subjects weren't allowed to be talked about anymore, and I felt that was an attack on freedom of speech and civil liberties, and designed to shut down debate. You can't talk about net zero. Why not? If you can't talk about something, it's not science, it's propaganda. I can tell you that now. That's critical thinking. If they won't argue about it, so there's two things. If they attack the person, not the argument, or if they won't argue about it. If they won't argue about net zero, why not? What's wrong? If you believe in what you believe, why don't you tell us the facts, the truth behind it? Now, I am not a climate denier, I'm not. I believe in climate change. That's nature. Right? Even the people who believe in the emergency admit with net zero we can't change it between 200 and 1,000 years, but it will make us a lot cooler. So you were talking, I'm sorry I've gone off, but you were talking about air source heating and that sort of thing, right? If you've got a new house that's fully insulated, air source heating works. I know because I put one in a new build myself, right? If you put it in, retrofit it, it doesn't work. And I know plenty of people that the council has forced in their council homes, and they've got cold water and their children are cold through the winter. It does not work. A blanket solution, there is no blanket solution. New property with insulation, it will work. And I put one in, but I wouldn't put it in an old property, no way. And it's actually, the property I put it in, I have to open the windows because it's too warm. Because I've fully insulated it with air source heating. But you put it in an old property, so you can see, I'm open-minded for both. But people sticking in old properties, and tenants, council tenants are suffering for it. Their children are suffering. That's not right. So, is there anybody else? Yes, sir.
Yeah, just look at this sign there, stop the boats. How do you intend to stop the boat?
Right, that's a really, I love that question. We already have the rules in place. It's called United Nations Rule of the Sea, the Law of the Sea, right? We can turn them back and take them back legally. We can do it. But there's no political will. They want open borders. They all want open borders. You will find a clip on YouTube of Keir Starmer saying, we need to get everybody on board here to welcome them in at the borders. And Rishi Sunak believes the same because he was from the World Economic Forum Young Leaders Programme. And when Keir Starmer was asked, Westminster or Davos, he said, Davos. That's not our country. They're supposed to be representing, they're supposed to be our prime ministers. And that's not the way. And so they're all agreeing, unfortunately. That's why reformers had to come. So the biggest pushback I got when I was in having a stall in Camborne or Redruth or whatever was, I'm not voting, I've had enough of politics. I understand that. I said that's exactly why reform were set up, because I was politically hopeless. I had no one to vote for. And I was saying, I got interviewed today, so I go all over the place, bring me back on peace. But I got interviewed today by Lucy Fisher from BBC. And actually, they've been very fair to me, the media down here, to be fair. And and I was saying the sort of same thing to her. So I was saying that there's no investigative journalists anymore. That I used to love the BBC. I love Radio 4, and I despise it now because it's biased. And I used to think it was unbiased. But going back to the boats. We can take those boats back. How? You take them out of the dinghies, you put in the boat, they throw themselves in the water, you take them out and rescue them again. And then you take them back to France. Now, you'll say, you can't take them back to Europe because we've come out. Well, a lot of the people that have come that in Northern Ireland have gone over to Ireland. So what have Ireland done? They pick them up, an EU country, and taken them back to Northern Ireland. Europe's already done it to us. Why can't we do it to Europe?
Will there be lots of objections though?
Who from?
Well, from the public.
The
objection to the accommodation vessel in Portland.
Right. All right. Okay, good question. And I'll tell you this. I don't know how many people have heard of Professor Matt Goodwin. He's a politics professor in his 40s from Kent University. And he's done a lot of surveys, and he will tell you that 80% of the population believe what Reform will believe. But 20% that protest got the loudest voices, and they've captured all the institutions. They've captured the National Trust, captured all the corporations, the Federation of Small Business that I used to belong to. I'm still a member because they've got good coverage, but they've captured them, right? So those 20% are the vocal ones, and the students that come out and, you know, Just Stop Oil. How many people do you think believe in that? Just Stop Oil. But they're out doing their stuff. It's nonsense, right? I want to say to Just Stop Oil, how many gallons, hundreds of thousands of gallons do you think of oil you need for the wind turbines to lubricate them? It's not vegetable oil, right? There won't be any wind turbines. So, you know, Just Stop Oil, you've got no wind power, right? All right, so just want to make sure I've answered that question.